Mr. Vincent, members of the faculty, students, parents, and friends of Dexter, welcome to the public speaking of Mr. Vartarna's section of Class 12. Nikola Tesla was born in 1856 in Croatia. He studied electrical engineering in Austria and in the Czech Republic. In 1884, he emigrated to the United States and began working for Thomas Edison in his Menlo laboratories. From that moment on, Tesla embarked on a journey that saw him develop the world's largest coil and also make significant advances to the fields of radio and wireless power transmissions. This is the story of a man whose name is not well known, but who left a major legacy.
Tesla came from a family of Serbian origin. His father was an Orthodox priest, and the young Tesla was expected to be a priest as well. He felt oppressed by that thought, however, and instead he longed to become an engineer. Tesla's mother's family was full of inventors, and it was said that she too was an inventor of the first rate. Tesla's mother worked very hard every day of her life and invented many tools that were used in and around the house. Tesla was a dreamer, but according to him, did not realize until he was an adult that he too would become an inventor. Tesla became a gifted engineering student.
Tesla was a voracious reader, and he is said to have memorized complete books because of his photographic memory. He worked as an engineer on the installation of a telephone system for a telephone company in Budapest. During this time, Tesla visualized the three principles of the rotating magnetic field. He also started to develop his plans for an induction motor that would later become the first step towards the use of alternating current. By 1881, he had risen to the position of the chief engineer at the company in Budapest. His success at Budapest attracted the attention of the Continental Edison Company in Paris, the European branch of Thomas Edison's invention empire. This time in Paris was short-lived for Tesla. After only a year, he was transferred to New York to work under the master, Mr. Edison himself.
Tesla arrived in New York penniless, but, according to a popular story, he was equipped with a letter of recommendation from a former employee of Edison. The letter read, "I know of two great men, and you are one of them. The other is this young man." Tesla was quickly given the task to solve some of the most difficult problems in the company. His relationship with Edison quickly became sour, however, as Tesla felt that he was being exploited. After Edison refused to raise the new recruit's salary $7 more a month, Tesla quickly resigned. George Westinghouse, head of the Westinghouse Electric Company in Pittsburgh, soon approached Tesla. Westinghouse quickly bought the patent right to Tesla's polyphase system of alternating current dynamos, transformers, and motors.
Tesla was eager to achieve his goals, and he established his own laboratory. The direct current system of Edison and the alternating current system of Tesla Westinghouse fought a bitter battle. Eventually, Tesla and his current won. A man with an insatiable thirst for knowledge, Tesla showed his inventive mind and started to experiment with shadowgraph imaging technology. This technology was perfected by Wilhelm Röntgen when he discovered what is now known as the X-ray. During the testing phase for his shadowgraph machine, Tesla reported experiencing similar type skin damage that was later proven with the X-ray tests. Röntgen and Tesla had correspondence, but the latter kept most of his findings hidden from the public.
At the time, when electricity was a relatively new phenomenon, Tesla suppressed public fears by offering demonstrations in his laboratory. He lighted lamps without wires by allowing the electricity to flow through his body. The Tesla coil, which he invented in 1891, became a stable instrument in 20th century radio and television sets and other electronic equipment. Westinghouse used Tesla's system to light the World Columbian Exposition in 1893. The success of these devices allowed Tesla his first major contract to install the first power machinery at Niagara Falls. Tesla's most ambitious project was his attempt to develop wireless transfer stations, which would have taken care of the world's power needs. Unfortunately, the project was able to produce power only in the close proximity of the station.
Tesla saw his dreams destroyed in a blazing fire. As his laboratory burned down, he lost most of his valuable research. In 1899, Tesla decided to move his remaining equipment to Colorado Springs. Tesla's laboratory was perfectly equipped to handle his high-voltage, high-frequency experiments. He achieved very important milestones during his time in Colorado. He proved that the Earth was a conductor, and he also produced artificial lightning. Some of the lightnings carried over 1 million volts. Many regard Tesla's research into the Earth as a conductor as his most important discovery. The research in Colorado helped him to prepare for the future experiment that was to be done in New York. His goal was to develop a device to communicate with other people wirelessly and, possibly, even with other life forms out of this world.
Tesla moved from Colorado in 1900, and he started what is known as the Wardenclyffe Project. He had secured financing from New York financier J.P. Morgan, who believed that Tesla's invention would prove another financial windfall. Unfortunately, the experiments were not successful due to financial concerns. The matter ultimately came to a head as Morgan withdrew completely, and the lab was dubbed Tesla's $1 million folly. However, the problems did not end there, as Tesla was challenged by Enrico Marconi for the title Inventor of the Radio.
Tesla's claim for the title had its roots in the patents that he had obtained in the early 1890s. Alongside Oliver Lodge, Tesla had made some breakthroughs in the field of wireless communications, and Marconi seemed to use only Lodge and Tesla's designs with slight modifications. However, for the time being, it seemed that Tesla and the others had lost to Marconi, as the Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to Marconi in 1909. It would not be until 1943 when the United States Supreme Court awarded Tesla the recognition of being the first person to develop technology considered a working radio.
Tesla continued his power struggle with Thomas Edison during the early part of the 20th century. Both men were thought to be contending for the Nobel Prize, but neither one of them ever received one. Tesla also started another project on Long Island, modeled after the failed Wardenclyffe project. However, Telefunken Wireless Radio Station in Sayville was taken over by the United States Marine Corps in 1917. The government was worried that the Germans could use it against the United States. Eventually, this building was torn down, and it seemed Tesla was destined to fail.
After the First World War, Tesla became increasingly critical of society. Some historians have described him as a dreamer with a poetic touch. And as war-torn Europe tried to recover from devastation, Tesla openly criticized the League of Nations and the path that politicians had chosen. He was also becoming more eccentric in his handling of daily matters. It is said that he was developing serious signs of obsessive-compulsive disorder. Tesla became fascinated with the number 3, and he would walk around the building 3 times before entering.
Tesla allowed very few people around him. One of his closest friends was Mark Twain, who often visited Tesla in his laboratory. Tesla also became one of the favorite people for the sensationalist press. As money from investors was hard to come by, Tesla's visions often stayed in his notebooks or his mind. Therefore, the press often quoted Tesla's futuristic visions. With nothing to show forth of these visions, many people started to regard Tesla as a crazy scientist. He received wide criticism for his visions of death rays, which he tried to sell to the government, and his communications with so-called outside worlds. Tesla's later years were spent in relative anonymity, and he died alone in a New York hotel. Tesla had sold his patents for the alternating current applications, but he still died penniless, weighted down by heavy debt.
Tesla's body was cremated and his ashes were moved to Yugoslavia in the 1950s. He did not live to see the Supreme Court decision to give him the credit for developing the radio. Tesla had become a U.S. citizen years earlier, but his papers and scientific research became a source of contention between his adopted nation and his home country. Tesla had remained neutral over the ethnic infighting that highlighted the establishment of Yugoslavia, but he remained fiercely loyal to his Serbo-Croat roots. Tens of trunks full of papers were upheld by the FBI and the State Department until finally, after several pleas, the custody was given to Tesla's surviving relatives. His ashes and scientific work are now available to the public in a museum that carries Tesla's name in Belgrade.
Nikola Tesla rose from humble beginnings as a priest's son to become one of the greatest electrical engineers of the 20th century. His patents and applications provided many people the platform to develop devices that we now use in our everyday lives. The struggle to find financing, exacerbated by excessive work habits, made Nikola Tesla a hard person to work with, a condition which may partly account for his status as a forgotten genius. However, Thomas Edison, shortly before Tesla's death, stated that his biggest mistake was to develop direct current instead of focusing on Tesla's superior alternating current. In the end, this may have been Tesla's greatest compliment.